Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Deckin Around Kickstarter Edition. Today, we're going to be taking a look at any decks that have ended their round of funding in the past 7 days, any decks that are new to Kickstarter in the past week, and any decks that are ending their round of funding in the upcoming week. But before we jump into it, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel.
And ring the bell.
So Steve, first Kickstarter recap of the new year. It's going to be a lot of crazy decks out here, man.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen a lot drop, after the first, and this is our first week back at it, to see how many decks drop. Let's dive into it, right?
Yeah, but before we jump into it, here's a quick word from our sponsor.
Hummingbird Feathers mimics the shimmer of a hummingbird in motion, meticulously created with a specialized printing process using multiple holographic foils, stunning tuck design, and sculpted embossing with master letterpress creation, featuring limited, standard, and gilded 3-deck sets. Pre-order yours today at marvelousdecks.com.
So yeah, man, I gotta say, these past 4 weeks in December, it's been pretty slow, so I'm excited to see what is happening on Kickstarter. Let's check it out.
Yeah.
First, congratulations to the WH Classic Blue playing cards for funding. Congratulations to Tiny 2 mini playing cards for funding. Congratulations to Lunar and Zodiac Year of the Snake for funding. And congratulations to Bicycle Cardistry 5th Anniversary playing cards for funding. And congratulations for South Beach cards for funding. Then, ending in the next 7 days, we have the Willow Standard playing deck. We have the Las Vegas playing cards, the Liquidus playing cards, the Immortals Puzzle Quest playing card, the Women of History playing cards deck, the Nobel Prize Series playing cards Chemistry Edition, the Bicycle Filthy Guys playing cards, the Harmony Back playing cards, and the Flower of Life playing cards. So for anyone who's interested in any of those decks, make sure to check them out before those campaigns end in the next 7 days. So, let us see. Look at we're going in hard just from the jump here. The Origin
Right?
3D Genesis playing cards. A monumental story that adopted in playing cards the radiant treasures that we believe should be a piece of everyone's life. It already crushed. Interesting choice to go with a 40-day campaign instead of a 30. You know, statistically, I don't think anything over a 30 really makes much difference, and if anything, it drags out your funding period longer, which means longer for you to get the funds actually transferred to your bank account. In most cases, 30 days are really the max you should go for on a Kickstarter campaign.
Yeah, I mean, unless they have, maybe bigger plans for add-ons or something that they just need more time to put together. Yeah, I mean,
yeah, there's also always the option though for something like Backer Kit or something like that where you can do post campaign. There's been pretty solid studies into whether or not post 30 days makes any difference, and what they've really come to is that if you haven't funded within 30 days, you're not going to fund in the subsequent 30 or subsequent 15. So it really it's an interesting concept. Let's see here. Kickstarter campaign aims to bring the beauty of Genesis into everyone's life through Austin's illustrations. We chose playing cards in 3D. All right, so it's a Genesis Bible story.
Yeah, it comes from the original Olympians deck, which you see right there.
Very cool.
That was a beautiful deck. Their tuck box is great, and they pull that tuck box design into this deck.
You know, Skymember really does a great job with their decks, and when they do release them, they go next level, no question about it.
Yeah. God, look at that tuck box, so cool.
Yeah.
Like displayed out like that in the frame. It's really cool.
Yeah, no, I think it's a really cool way to kind of add a little bit of added art to the whole process, which I think is really cool. And I think that's all laser cut, which really very intricate, very detailed, very nice.
Yeah, and the one thing I really like about it, is if you look at the laser cut, there's no basically cut marks, I guess you can say. Obviously doing deck cuts is awesome, and we've seen some really amazing ones, but one thing that I do notice with the hand deck cuts is, the color of the card kind of isn't all the way around the edges. On that laser, it's like spot on.
Yeah, and I think sometimes too, even something like a little bit of sanding around it would help in the final finish on those. But yeah, that laser really is precision,
Yeah.
which is cool. I dig the hollow foil on this. Very intricate design. It's a good looking deck.
Yeah, they have this deluxe box set.
Snake, the Tree of Knowledge, the Adam and Eve. Very cool.
Gilded.
Rose gold, red, devil red, and rainbow gold. Nice, they got some good gilding to it. Some great visuals on this. It's got a lot of information across the board. Custom crystal case for the collector edition from TCC. Very nice. Very cool. So
I love the TCC cases.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, these are very, very cool.
Yeah, and there's actually handmade cuts by Austin himself.
Yeah, no, that's very cool looking. All right, so let's see where we're at price-wise here. So the special edition is $33 shipped. So with everything going into this, honestly, like that's not too crazy.
Yeah.
58 for a gilded version. Again, like you're getting so much more than a deck here, so it's hard to really say that something's a little overpriced. To me, it's a high price point, but if you really look at everything you get for it with the deck and the laser cut deck cut there and everything, it really is, you know, an intricate piece. So with all of that added value into it, I don't think, you know, 33 for the standard is really that excessive. And then 25 extra for gilding. That's a little high.
Click on that, read more. Yeah, Rainbow Silicon for special events. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it's really, it's funny because, you know, obviously when something is so over the top like this, it's really hard to gauge, right? You know, with a tuck box like that, which is just ridiculously designed and intricate, and, you know, like you said, with the laser cut, it's really hard to put a price on what that's worth, you know, or what that costs.
Well, and I think the gilding, $25 extra for gilding is a little bit outside the normal realm that we would see across a normal deck. And being that they're gilding only the deck, I do think that's a little bit high. But otherwise, for the standard deck and everything, I'm impressed. It's cool. Nice to see they're throwing in some added, you know, coins and rings. It's interesting with the ring, you know, kind of adds a little bit of a magic element to it, though this clearly would not be a magician's deck. I dig the coins. I dig the t-shirt. I'm excited to see what else they're going to be having here for the other stretch goals. But I think this is a very well put together campaign. And honestly, they have some great visuals with it.
Yeah, no, they put together a really good campaign. Does it say who's printing it?
So not that I
think it's themselves. I believe it says they've... Deck is printed moderate metallic inks.
So not that I am seeing... no, the deck is printed by USPCC.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
And...
Not gilded.
Housed in the
so the non-gilded one is printed by them. The special edition.
Okay.
The deck is printed.
Very cool. And then, yeah, fulfillment, I'm assuming, is going to be through them as well, though. It's something that they should mention in here just to, you know, put everyone at ease.
Yeah, what's that say? The One Playing Card Company.
Yeah, so that's basically an arm of Sky Member. So they're printing the tucks themselves, and I'm assuming probably the gilded I don't know if the gilded version is actually different. It looks like that they may be
the gilded is just for that deluxe set, I believe. And
yeah, but the decks are probably the same. So it's probably all USPCC printed decks, and then the gilding is being done not through USPCC. Right. Yeah, so it makes sense. Cool. Yeah, I'd love to see, again, I'd love to actually see that a little less buried in there. Maybe somewhere up top mention that it's being printed by USPCC. Even though it's really not...
Those bullet points always...
Yeah, they do make it so much cleaner.
Beneficial.
But no, this is a great looking campaign. They did a really good job throwing this all together. Confirmation that they're fulfilling themselves would be helpful, but otherwise, I think there we go. We will.
There we go. Fulfillment. We have the solid production issue. What's that fulfillment? You guys can usually comments to fulfill.
So
We've teamed up with DHL e-commerce.
Yeah, so non-US, they're shipping themselves through DHL. In US, they have a fulfillment partner. It would be nice to see who that fulfillment partner is, just so that you're aware, you know. But yeah, Otherwise, I think they did a really good job with this. So good luck, guys, on the campaign. You're already crushing it, but can't wait to see where else it goes.
Yeah.
All right. And
beautiful.
next up, we have the Ketchup and Fries playing cards. Welcome to the first project of fast food playing cards. We strive to combine the fast food culture with playing card culture. Interesting. I personally am not a fast food person, but
Yeah, I mean,
that's my name's Richard Lee, and I'm a magician, graphic designer from New York City. There are three things I have to leave: sleight of hand, graphic design, and fast food. Cool. See, I love that he's coming right into it with a personal touch story that not only ties in who he is, but ties into the theme of the deck as well. So you not only know who he is, but why he is doing this. And I think this is a great example as well because it's not overly long. You know, it's a couple sentences and it hits on all the points you need. You don't need a autobiography in here to tell your story. It can be short and succinct and still be as impactful.
Yeah, for sure.
Limited
2,500 each deck. Wow.
Yeah, awesome. French cut is made premium matte, printed on both sides, die cut to mimic actual French fry box. That's very cool. I like the style of it. We've seen a couple side tucks before, but this is a good way to kind of bring it together with a theme. Printed by USPCC with their premium B crushed stock. Nice. Both versions are suit marked. Multiple hidden magic reveals. So definitely a magic geared deck. It's a fun looking deck. I dig it. Got a great story to it. Got a lot of the information there. We know off the bat who's printing, which I think is important. And look at that, fulfillment by Gambler's Warehouse.
Fulfilling.
Yep. So awesome. Let's see where we're at. And look at that. $17 ship, $12 a deck. That's really a great workers deck price point there. I think they did a phenomenal job with bringing the price to where it needed to be. I actually really like the relatively standard but like stylized courts. So like obviously it looks like Colonel Sanders there, Wendy's, like all the little fast food franchises here. And then just has a little bit of customization. Really nicely done.
Definitely creative. It's fun.
Yeah, I do. And I like the fact that it's basically a recolor between the courts between the two, which again, not that big of a deal.
Yeah, same ones.
Yeah, a little bit of difference here and there.
I mean, I guess they're doing different things, as you can see.
Yeah, they're about the same.
The Queen of Diamonds is different than the.
Yeah.
Oh wait.
So the Jack of Diamonds, is different. So they're thematically oriented. They're different. Oh
yeah.
So yeah, they're thematically oriented, which is cool. They're very similar, but not exactly the same, which I think is great. Three Jokers tell a continuous action of either. I think this is really a very cool deck.
Reveals. It's definitely creative, and you know, if fast food is your thing, then this is definitely a great deal.
Well, and I like the fact though too that this is a theme that could have been done in a very simple and kind of underdone kind of way, but they really put a lot of effort into this, which I respect.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, you know, everything's in there from prototypes to images, and you know, I think they did a great job, and you know, coming in at $17 ship.
Can't go wrong. Yeah, awesome job, Rich. Can't wait to see how well this does. You've already funded, so you're crushing it, man, but keep going with it.
Good luck.
Next up, we have the Transflux Playing Cards 2nd Edition. Right. Transflux is defined as flowing through, across, or beyond exactly what we envisioned cardistry to be. All right, cool. So cardistry-oriented deck ties it right into how the deck ties into cardistry with that little definition there. Very cool. I don't remember the previous campaign, so I'm just going to check and see when it actually was.
The blue one?
Yeah. Let's see here. So this was fulfilled in April. Oh, this is a older campaign.
November 2019.
Yeah, November 2019. So a bit of an older campaign, but good to see they're coming back to it with their 2nd edition here. Definitely a very much an cardistry-oriented deck. You can tell that out the gate.
Yeah, for sure.
Talks about why they're dropping the 2nd edition, building off of the Transflux launch edition. Anyone that didn't get a chance to purchase our launch edition, they're going to have it available. Very cool. Interesting looking brick box there. I like.
Kind of cool.
Yeah, it's different shape to it, different vibe to it. Very nice. Got some great fanning elements across the deck. The one thing I just didn't see jump out from the gate is printer and fulfillment, though. Let's see what we got here. Aces, jokers, extra cards, features.
There we go.
Printed by USPCC on their crushed stock. So limited edition print run. Yeah, so this is something that very likely could have been copied over from the previous one, but obviously now USPCC having a minimum of 2,500 for their crushed stock, that's one thing they'll want to fix here is either upping the limited edition print run to 2,500 decks or non-crushed stock. I'm guessing just based on the deck itself, they'll probably go with 2,500 in crushed. That's becoming the new norm in cardistry, so it makes a little bit of sense. I'd also like to see who fulfillment is, though. I haven't seen that yet. Cool, they're going to be doing impossible bottles. That's an interesting one, too, considering it's a... Gamblers. Yeah, considering it's a cardistry-oriented deck. I don't know what the market is for impossible bottles in cardistry, but that's... Why not?
Yeah.
And fulfillment by gamblers. Yeah. So, yeah, I definitely think they need to touch on the aspect of the print run, whether it's going to be 2,500 in crushed or 1,000 in not crushed. Also, bring the printer and the fulfillment farther up top. I think it would be helpful to have that right in the beginning when you're talking about the success of the first deck and why you're doing the second one. It definitely flows there naturally. Having those bullet points will really make those points drive home.
$17. I mean, shipped is a great price point.
Yeah, no, without a doubt, a good price point on it. And looks like the early birds already pulled or they didn't have any, but yeah, I think $17 shipped for this is a reasonable price for the deck, so good luck, Transflux playing cards. Next up, we have the Katas Almanac, number 3, Transformation playing cards, Reproduction. Now, this is another deck by Will Roya. We've seen Will's decks in the past. Will does a really great job with this. 1807 Wallenstein, deck 3 of 6 in a series. Precisely hand recrafted and printed by USPCC. Limited edition with 1,000 with numbered seals. Hits really well on it with the subtitle there. Touches on the fact printed by USPCC. Limited edition. Gives you the print run right there. He's got a significant following as well, but Will has done a lot. I mean, here you go, 23 created. Will has done a lot of campaigns. He really knows how to do a very good job with these when he throws them together. Jumps right into the story. Good use of bold there to make it eye-catching. Talks about the fact that it's limited edition, a little bit of flair to the imagery. A lot of this is really just meant to draw your eye in, which is so important in these campaigns. 2 limited edition, numbered seal versus standard seal. Talks about the features right here, printed by USPCC on classic stock, produced by Will Roya. Nice. Let's see.
So is there a difference between the standard and the limited type?
Yeah, it looks like the one is foil versus ink.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. Interesting indeed.
Oh, go up. What's that say on the... Up one more on the bullets?
It didn't mention it.
50. No, hold on. Metallic ink
on both
box and card backs. Both versions of Tux and cards back.
Yeah, so it didn't mention it. Campaigns 4, we are limiting third number deck, only 1,000 copies. Additional standard, limited edition are created. Just a slight difference on the tuck. Designed with dark and gold ink combination with the same custom seal, not numbered. So, yeah. It's a good looking deck.
So it's not foil.
Yeah, no, all metallic ink it looks like.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right, where are we at price? And here's where you just can't go wrong with Will stuff. $13 shipped. So Will usually does fulfillment himself. Once I get to the bottom here, we can see. There's a lot in here. There always is a lot in here. And listen, I think it's great that he talks about the story about. And it's smart to put it at the bottom because there is just so much information. But I think one of the things about it as well is you want to make sure that you're getting a lot of this stuff. A lot of the information necessary, like fulfillment information and all that, above your kind of like last-ditch history information there.
Right. I mean, this is a lot of information.
Yeah. Yeah, and at some point or another, with 23 created and all of this information, it might be time to start paring some of this back so it's not as long. Even with the images, like there's a lot of images, you show a lot of great aspects of the deck, and it really shows it off well. Might be that like these 3 images here with the back design, maybe reduce it to like one of them like this here versus the 3 of them there, because you're showing basically the same thing. And that might save a little bit of space.
Yeah. I mean, I think like trimming down the story, the history of it all. Like I'm sure, the history I think is great. I think adding some of that story, but yeah, I mean, if you cut that back, I don't think the information will be lost, so to speak.
Without a doubt, especially because people can look at your previous campaigns. But otherwise, again, Will crushes it with this. So good luck on the campaign, man. Absolutely love it.
Good luck.
Next up, we have the Make 100 plastic Sigils of Paragon comic poster card decks. Superhero comic book style plastic and linen playing cards, custom pips and face and ace cards, limited Kickstarter exclusive, Make 100. That's a really high goal for 100 decks, but based on the fact that that's such a limited print run, it's not unheard of. Custom deck of linen.
Created 29 though.
Yeah.
Wow.
Let's see what we got here. Clear plastic case is not a great selling point on these things. 25 per plastic deck. So here's the other thing that I don't fully understand this. This is limited to 100 decks at $24 each. If you sell 100, that's only $2,400. So you've now made it so that a lot of other things need to sell.
That's the plastic edition, right? How much is the linen one? $24 linen. Go down. Do they have a price? $24. Yeah.
So
I
it's
think
still
the linen one is not limited to 100.
The linen is the finish. They're plastic cardstock printed on plastic. Oh, or linen. So yeah, I don't see.
So keep going down.
There's nothing there. It sequentially gets larger by price point.
No. I'm talking on the left side.
Hold on.
To see if it says underneath those cards.
I don't see anything, to be honest, about.
Yeah, I think the 100 is the plastic ones where the linen is unlimited.
So that's not how Make 100 with Kickstarter works. Make 100 means you're making 100 of something limited. So that being said, though, it could be making 100 of each, but I don't see anything on the price point here for the linen deck. Custom character card and linen deck. So, like, maybe the linen deck are only certain tiers?
Those early birds.
So, and they were only early birds, though. 6, 4, 3. So that doesn't account for full list there. So that's something that I'll say off the bat, then. These tiers are not exactly clear cut. That in mind, $24 for a deck of plastic playing cards is also extremely expensive.
Yeah. That doesn't, especially one that doesn't come with a tuck box.
Yeah. I like the design of it, honestly. I think there's a lot of merit to this for someone who enjoys that comic book art style. It's got a kind of Marvel-esque feel to it.
Yeah. Can you go up for 1 sec? And the bullet points right there. Yeah, right there. There it is. Custom artwork, 52 playing cards, hand-drawn core cards. Now go up for a sec on the other bullet point ones. Right there.
Yeah, so
the limited plastic edition is exclusive to only Kickstarter, where the other one where it says linen doesn't say that. So I assume that's the difference.
And if that's the case, assumptions aside, this isn't a game of assumptions with Kickstarter. These things definitely need to clearly be laid out. Yeah, because I think there's merit to this deck. I think there's probably, and obviously he's created a lot of campaigns. This Kingdoms of Erden deck is one of his as well. We've seen these before. But getting that information out there and being as transparent and as clear as possible is really important in this. Again, I think $25 for even a limited run plastic deck is pretty high unless you really love the artwork. But also, I would like to see any information on printing and fulfillment for it as well, because I think it's important to know as part of the campaign. So, good luck Tim, looking forward to seeing how well this does. Next up, we have the Generation 1 playing cards, first edition, from Kier Gomes and Luke Wadey. Printed by USPCC, fulfilled by Gambler's Warehouse. Dead on.
Nice. Right in the top.
Already crushed the goal, 306 backers. That's super exciting. Hey guys, Kier here, Luke here too. I love that little kind of dialogue back and forth, though. Immediately draws you in with a little bit of fun to the deck. And if you know Kier and Luke, that's 100% their vibe. So that's really cool to see that come through. Generation 1 represents the first collection of playing cards we will be designing together and kicking off in 2021. The first edition looks to start the new decade with a splash of color. Beautiful. Printed by USPCC, one-time print run, 2,500 decks. Premium crushed. Fulfilled by Gamblers.
Fulfilled by Gamblers.
See, look at this. And they even go next level right out the gate, showing you what the stretch goals are.
Yep.
So at least you have everything you need to know. If you just snapshotted this right here, you would have everything you needed to know about these cards without going any further. And I think that's super important because people want to know what's going on with it without having to get into the finer details. You want to sell someone on the deck so that they ask about these finer details. Great pictures out the gate.
Little backstory on the back design.
No, it's really well done.
Pictures of the tuck.
Really well put together.
Great to see pictures of a tuck and not just renders.
Yeah. Really well put together with this. Nice add-ons. You've got the nice add-ons. So you got the custom brick box, the snapback cap there, a t-shirt, which I'm always curious again how merch works with these, how well merch sells. Uncut sheets as an add-on as well. Also, I think always a great thing. Sometimes we see people put this in as a tier itself. Not worth it. Definitely better as an add-on. Nice on the stretch goals. Throws in the social. And I think one of the really cool things about this too is it gives you a little bit of a blurb about Kier and Luke right behind it, explaining, who they are and just solidifying that personal connection, which I think is so important on these things. And what are we looking at here? $18 shipped, which spot on for a fully custom deck. Nicely done. Now, I think this looks good. I like the fact that everything was so concisely put together in the top of the campaign. I think they did a really good job with this.
Yeah.
And already crushed the goal. Yeah, good luck, guys. Keep going with that momentum. Next up, we have the ZDV2 retro playing cards from the December Boys. Playing cards by December Boys.
A lot of people have been really utilizing that kind of VCR tuck box look this past year.
Yeah, well, hey, this one's 2021 now. They're kind of keep the trend alive. Playing cards by December Boys with vaporware aesthetic and green cards to create groundbreaking cardistry visuals. 173. That is how many contest submissions we received from artists worldwide to design our new deck of cards. Very cool.
Interesting.
As dedicated disciples of cardistry and sleight of hand since 2009, we are recognized for nailing knuckle-busting moves, teaching our original flourishes, documenting cardistry con meetups, and lately exploring new dimensions in performance art with our signature green card concepts. Yeah, so for anyone who hasn't seen it, the previous deck that December Boys had, I think it was their Z deck or something like that.
Z-deck,
had a green card in it, which you could basically in editing use as a to key and put whatever you wanted onto it. It was really a cool idea. And I've seen some really good visuals with it as well. So similar to the examples they're showing here, where this is something you could do on the green card. How's it going for 11 years? We're on a mission. A lot of movement, which I think is awesome because obviously being a cardistry deck, movement is the premise. So seeing a lot of that is really cool. And it's really fully custom, which I think is really fun. Let's see what we got here.
I mean, standard-ish custom.
Yeah, with the colors and the removal of borders and new pips in there. There's a lot of new vibe to it, which I think is good.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's see what we got here. Unique features. Cool, so they add a little bit of exclusive value to the deck as well, which I think is always a great way to go if you're a content creator.
Yeah. A gilded edition.
Yeah. Back in gilding. All right, let's see what the price point's at on this one. So 22 shipped. So we'll see what the fulfillment is. So okay, furthermore, good friends at Art to Play. So Art to Play for fulfillment. All right. So
Yeah.
they do have a fulfillment agent, USPCC for printing. So the one thing I would say out the gate is an inclusion of the stock for printing as well. I see that. There we go. Art of Place thin.
There you
Yeah,
go.
so trademark thin stock. So basically crushed stock. But is it going to be B or bicycle stock that's crushed? Also, doing that a little bit farther up here, somewhere in the mix up top, having some bullet points with the USPCC, crushed stock, print run, and fulfillment would have all been helpful. I still think, though, that $22 price point is just a bit high for what this is. Ultimately,
Yeah.
this is
No, I agree.
a $17, $18 deck shipped on the high end. I also think the idea of a gilded cardistry deck is interesting, but depending on how well the gilding works, a lot of times you lose it other than with like packet cuts and things like that. I think it could come in.
How much is it? Dude,
$58. Yeah,
$58.
that's a lot. That's really pretty high for a gilded deck.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a pretty significant price point. As a $35 deck, maybe, and even that would have been a little bit high. Again, banking on some of the clout behind the name, I could see some inflation in the pricing, but 58 for a gilded deck is a pretty high price point.
That doesn't have like foil on the back and fronts, and
yeah, it's
that's where
literally
you're
just
starting
the
to.
same deck gilded.
That's where you're starting to
Yeah,
jump into Stockholm 17 and Lautrec territory and stuff like that.
yeah, and at a much lower price point. So limited edition Z deck V2. Yeah, listen, I think the deck is interesting. I like the concept with the green screen cards. I really think it's very cool to see how that gets used creatively. To me, $18 in hand would have been the price point for this. And yeah, that 58 is just a bit high. I'd be curious to see, how many people end up backing that too. 10 backers already out of 50. So there's some activity behind it, but yeah, I think that's just a high price point. So
Yeah,
good luck, guys.
Good luck.
Yeah, I dig the deck. I think the price points just because use a little tweaking in the information, bring it up front a little more, make it a little more summarized. But otherwise, good luck, guys. Next up, we have benchmark playing cards. So,
Lou.
and look at that. Lou already crushing with his deck here, 120% filled. Benchmark playing cards, decked out cards, and 8 High Studio present benchmark playing cards printed by USPCC, fulfilled via Gambler's Warehouse. So, Lou's been teasing this deck for a while now, and Lou's been, pretty active member in the community. I'm excited to see this deck pop up. I'm assuming that in the original, this would not have been here.
Yeah, exactly.
And to be honest, I don't know that this needs to be here. Especially because I know, and from my point of view, and from what I've heard, Kickstarter is actually going to start cracking down on campaigns that utilize funded in less than X as a selling point, and actually de-promoting, for lack of a better term, kind of like hiding to some extent. So it's something to consider when you do those kind of things. If anything, I would have maybe added it somewhere else to make it a little more subtle than this. Just because it pushes.
Or just don't add it.
Just
let your campaign show for itself. You don't need to show that it funded in 24 hours. Although that is an amazing feat. I think it's great, and it's definitely something to be proud of.
So I think the spot for this,
you don't have to put such a big.
Yeah, the spot for this would have been the updates. The updates is where you could have done this.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I think that would have made the most sense because it would have been more cohesive and it wouldn't have pushed things down. Now I have to scroll past this to get to the story. That being said, it's something to consider. I love that, great picture of it here, great render of it here. Rolls right into the story. And I think the cool thing about this story is it resonates, I think, with anyone who's new to the playing card community and the idea of wanting to create their own deck of cards, and gives hope to people who are new and want to do that. Brings the specs right out the front. 1,000 print run of each color planned. Initial colorway at launch is purple. Teal will be available if stretch goal is met. Traditional cut, standard stock, fulfilled by Gamblers, printed by USPCC. Hits all the points there. Crushed it. Yeah. Talks a little bit about who 8 High Studios is. Gets into the back design. And
I love that purple. That purple's so nice.
I think both colorways were really great with this. And I like the fact that Lou went outside of the standard blue and red. And I know that was a big part of this. He did a great job with it, and there's a lot of information there without being overly done.
Right.
Nice, very nice. Yeah, let's see what else we got. So printed by USPCC, fulfilled by gamblers. Stretch goals.
Stretch goals, add-ons.
Cool, very cool. So the one thing too, and I might, sometimes we see stretch goals that are out of the park, crazy. You have a 5,000
Yeah.
goal and you're doing stretch goals for 100,000. The one area where I will say that comes in handy is, say you hit the 1350 mark, you now have to scramble to find other stretch goals. And you obviously want to have stretch goals beyond that because it keeps your momentum going. So hopefully there's something planned there, even if it's literally just like question mark, question mark, question mark. So people know there's more stuff planned beyond hitting that 1350 goal, especially at the momentum you're going right now, Lou. It looks like that 1350 goal could be, well done within 2 weeks of the campaign starting.
Yeah.
All right. How to add
Well,
add-ons.
like I love that, showing people how to do add-ons. A lot of campaigns kind of forget to add that in, so it's good to see that.
Yeah, and especially because not all campaigns have that new add-on feature from Kickstarter, so still utilizing that is smart. First project, learning all we can. Awesome folks at Gamblers and USPCC. Awesome,
That's cool.
awesome. Where are we?
Yeah, he has that information in 3 different areas, so that's great.
And look at that, $19 price point. Definitely not bad. $6 shipping, 13 for the deck. Still falls into that like workers price point.
Yeah.
I'd say, yeah, this is really somewhere between that 17 to 19 price point makes the most sense for this.
Yeah. Good job.
Yeah, good job, Lou. I'm looking forward to seeing that teal get unlocked, man, because I love that color. It looks so good.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's smart that he actually, separated them too, made one of them a stretch goal rather than coming right out of the gate with 2 decks, which is always, can be kind of a little iffy on the goal.
Yeah.
That campaign goal. So to see him come in with one and having that second colorway as a stretch goal is really smart.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
Absolutely agreed. Especially because that 9,000 goal might not have covered 2 decks, so this could still be waiting to fund. So no, it's brilliant idea. So nicely done, Lou.
Yep.
Next up, we have the Morganstrebler Legacy decks, white or black. Morganstrebler's exclusive Legacy decks are available in white or black, printed on Legendary Cardamundi True B9 linen finish. All right. The Legacy deck screams quality. As a result of months of extensive research, we only utilize Cardamundi True B9 linen finish, the absolute standard in world playing cards. Inspired by the mind and the work of Lord in the Legacy. So I'm curious here.
What other? Yeah, let's check that out. Wow, that's a long description.
That is a very long description. So I don't. So he's done magic stuff in the past.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, first deck. All right. Good renders off the gate there. Interesting black borders.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting. All right, so let's see what we got here. Further, Morganstrebler's Legacy reading. Okay, inspired by the mind and work of Morgan, the Legacy blends unique art and the mystique of the supernatural to create a one-of-a-kind acquisition. Cool. With the Legacy deck and its card menu, you can rest assured you are getting nothing but the best, and each card is... Okay, so the one thing I have to say is, like, there's a lot going on to sell the stock, but you haven't actually touched much on the artwork yet or the deck itself in a way other than the stock. And so I feel like I keep getting sold on the stock and not the deck. I feel like I need to know more about the deck, more than just the 3 pictures I've seen so far. Talk about the motivation behind it. Talk about, why you decided to create a deck of cards, why you think Cardamundi True B9 linen finish is the best stock. I'm not one to argue. I love their slimline, so it makes a lot of sense. But treat this as if you were trying to sell this deck of cards to someone who's never owned a deck of cards before. Why is this deck of cards the one they want to buy? Here we go.
And with the renders, yeah, definitely. I'd like to see just render. I like how they're using different colors to kind of bring out contrast in the cards, but kind of make them a little more cohesive and easier to look at rather than like the hands. I don't even.
These are real photos.
Yeah, but like this one right here, that's the worm. You're not going to hold the deck like that to do the worm. Like do just more
Organic, yeah,
standard.
more organic,
Yeah,
yeah,
more
more organic
standard
flows, yeah.
positions, and like the one right there with the red.
Yeah.
I think that red looks kind of cool. Contrast with
Yeah.
the card color, it looks really good.
Yeah. So here's the one thing too. Now that we're past the details, the inspiration behind the deck is Morgan's renowned award-winning liquid metal routine. That should be one of the first things you're saying.
Yeah,
Morgan's
agree.
renowned award-winning liquid metal routine is the inspiration for this deck through blah 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 whatever liquid metal. This is why we decided to create this deck. This should be your first thing before you even get into the details. That being said, you didn't really hit on much of the details there. We know who's printing it,
Right.
cool, Cardamundi B9, but like it's very repetitive. Yeah, I think the layout should change a little bit, but also he's back on the Cardamundi propaganda only because Cardamundi does well for themselves. People know Cardamundi, you know?
Yeah.
You could have said Cardamundi B9 because we prefer that stock, and that would have been all you needed to say there. People who love B9 are going to love it no matter what. Yeah, I do dig these photos with the red hands there. It's cool. Project both a classic and a modern ambience. 52 playing cards, 2 jokers in each deck, and you choose from 2 distinctive versions, white or black. Very cool. It's interesting to see that the face cards are white in the black deck as well.
Yeah, it is weird.
I mean, it's different, but it also kind of, depending on how, well, and I guess maybe that's why there's the black border so that you don't see the bleed when the cards are together. It's interesting, very interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder why they did it that way.
Yeah.
I wonder if that has to do with the magic trick.
Could be. Yeah, I mean, so here's the thing. I feel like I didn't really get a lot of information out of this campaign. Who's going to be fulfilling is a big one. You know, who's going to be sending out your decks? Important to know. We also talked about, we also talked about the idea that, now that's something unrelated to this. We also talked about the fact that it's going to be printed by Cardamundi. Awesome. This is where the bullet points come into play, though, because they really get a lot of the important information in a concise way so that people know who's going to be backing it. Like, I think there's a lot of potential with this deck. I think the deck looks cool. I think the back design looks fun. I just think the sales pitch for it needs to be a little tighter, a little more focused, you know? Let's see where we're at price point. And you can't go wrong on this price point. $13 shipped.
Looks like that 7 is a little wonky.
Yeah, it looks like there's some odd spacing there.
Yeah, weird.
Yeah, but yeah,
either way, I think the designs are cool. I like how they're, you know, the bodies are anatomically correct. You don't normally see that with court cards. I think it's great. You know, I'm a big fan of that. So I really dig the white deck, the face cards, you know.
So the other thing I would say with this, though, too, is you have an option for a signed card, a single deck, both, and a half brick. Don't forget to add in 2-tier, 3-tier, 4-tier, because sometimes people just want to buy 3 decks, you know, and you're gonna end up having people who only want 3 decks buy a single deck and nothing else instead of a half brick and figure out someone to split it with. The other thing that you don't add in here, which then makes it more difficult, is add-ons. So if you have an option for add-ons, someone in theory could buy 1 deck and add on 2 more, but without accounting for that in the campaign, it makes it very difficult for people to get the amount of decks you want. You inadvertently limit the amount of decks you can sell because now someone who would have bought 3 is only going to buy 1.
All right. Yeah. I mean, you're limiting the amount of money that you can make.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So something to consider there. I think the tiers need to be fleshed out a little bit more. If this does not fund, you know, and actually this is a perfect example of what we just talked about as well, with having a very high goal because it's 2 decks versus having a more attainable goal and using a second deck as a stretch goal in order to make sure that at least one of the 2 decks gets funded. That's something that I would definitely consider looking into for this one as well. Should this not fund, definitely bring it back to the drawing board because there's a lot of potential. The back design's really cool looking, but I think there needs to be a little bit more thought around building out the campaign itself and whether it's going to be a single deck to start or 2 decks with 1 as a stretch goal or what. So
yeah, and I mean, and being a magician, the fact that this is a one-way back design, is interesting.
Yeah. So all right. Good luck. Next up, we have the Vampire playing cards, Western Vampires from Hype Lab. So Hype Lab has obviously done a couple in the past, 5 created. They have the Parallel Universe deck. They have their Eastern Vampires deck, which I believe is in the process of funding soon. And they have their Hype
the
Eureka. Yeah. So these are, some of their others. This deck we've known is going to be coming for a while since it was teased as part of the Eastern Vampires set of being a 4-deck kind of series there. Here you go. Part 2 of a 2-deck series on Vampires East and West. Hype Lab. See, I love the fact that they really like draw you right in with some nice imagery, talk about the idea. Vampire playing cards explores a slice of the Western vampire. Vampires are regularly represented in literature and paintings, as well as popular culture, including appearances in movies, opera, animation, and TV dramas. Tells a little story about the vampires, shows off some beautifully done cards, and really gets into the detail. Bicycle edition cards printed by USPCC. Hype, from what I remember, fulfills their own cards, though they don't mention it here. It probably would be helpful for them to mention here that they fulfill themselves.
Yeah,
I
dig that purple, and I love that navy color.
Yeah, well, and they,
Joku used it on the Onda, I believe. I really dig it. And with that purple, it looks really nice together.
Yeah, well, and they also do an interesting like travel deck with this as well. And for the Eastern version, they did a yellow deck. This one, it's more of like a plum color, which I really dig.
Yeah.
They do a really nice job with the design on this.
That back design. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's for some reason at first glance, it kind of looks like a French bulldog, but I know it's supposed to be a bat.
You know what it reminds me of? Not Memento. What's that movie with the bunny?
Bunnicula?
With the
Bunnicula?
No. There's a bunny. It's a classic movie, like super weird. Donnie Darko.
Oh, Donnie Darko. Yeah. Okay.
It kind of reminds me of that back design. It doesn't scream vampire. It screams Donnie Darko for some weird reason. I know it's not a bunny, but it kind of just gives me that vibe.
That's funny.
They kind of look like elfin vampires.
Yeah. So then they've also got premium editions. So the one thing I will say too is there's just a lot of imagery here with not a lot of text. I think this is something we've discussed in the past, making sure to seed images and text together so there's a little bit more of a cohesive story there. Because what ends up happening is if you have too many images, people are prone to just scrolling fast to get through once they feel like they've seen what they want to see. And you end up missing information, which is not ideal. I dig the coin aspect of this.
How much are they? How much are the coins? $66.
$17.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, and that's shipped.
Yeah.
So not bad. They have a coin case with it as well, which I think is interesting. So
that's cool. I dig.
Yeah, the add-ons are really well thought out with this, and we saw this with the Eastern Vampires too, which this campaign is very much I won't say a clone, but very close to what we saw with the Eastern Vampires. The one thing I will say, stretch goals to be announced, make sure you're putting some teasers for stretch goals in there from the jump, because you want people to feel like there's a reason to keep sharing and getting the word out for this campaign, more so than just like, hey, I backed it, I'm done, see you later. You want that continuous momentum. Our fulfillment plan now is to adopt multiple channels, both direct mail as well as using other fulfillment services to ensure that rewards. All right. So mentioning who the other fulfillment services would be is a great start. I think, having the information you have up top here makes sense to include it right in here. I would also, like I said, kind of break up the text a little, or break up the images a little bit more with more text, just because it does get to be a lot of images without really like here's the thing, premium edition. You're scrolling through these basic editions and you could easily miss the fact that this is the premium edition because there's no like text explaining it or telling the story of the premium edition.
There's just a lot of visuals going on, and it's hard to,
which isn't bad,
follow it. No, right, but it's hard to follow when there's no text.
You need that little bit of a breakup with it. I think it's great to have images and a lot of images, but you definitely need to set that cadence or that tone to go throughout. One basic vampire deck, 21 shipped. A little on the high end for me. It is a fully custom deck. I don't know if they mentioned there we go. So there will be some metallic ink in the tuck box. My book, this is still maybe like a $19, $20 deck. 21 isn't that overpriced for what it is, considering you are getting the metallic ink in it. But I think they also do where if you go for 2, it does bring the price point down. Yeah. So 32 shipped for both. Oh, that's early. 35 shipped for both, which isn't bad. You're down to then, 1750.
1750.
Yeah, 1750 each shipped. So really, if you go for just the one, and in this case, I don't know many people who would probably go for just one because, you know, they're kind of non-matching. It's a pair. But
I go for the one because I don't like red. But
yeah, but yeah, you're one of the 17.
Logic.
You're one of the 17 versus, if we go take a look here at the 17 on both. I can't even talk too much smack on it. It's a 50-50 split between one deck versus two. But, I think, again, I also think it's a good thing to point out here that between their standard and their early bird on the dual deck, at least, save $2. Again, you're getting to a more motivating price point there versus just...
I mean, it is only $1 per deck. But...
Yeah, but it's still, as a sum of a figure, you still have $2 there. So I don't know what their early bird on their first one would have been. About $22 shipped, 171. Yeah, that's a pain. I'm not going to do the math on this, basically.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
But yeah, so it's interesting to see. I think they did a really good job with this. I would say bring up the fulfillment a little bit earlier and maybe nudge the price point down on a single deck very slightly and break up the pictures with some text a little bit more. That would be my feedback on this. But otherwise, Hype Lab is really coming together with some great ideas and some great campaigns for sure.
Their decks are very hypey.
Yeah. Good luck, guys. Next up, we have the Symbols of Revolution playing card deck. A playing card deck featuring revolutionary symbols meant to delight and inspire. All right. We live in troubling times. Our leaders are ineffectual at best and authoritarian at worst. But people are waking up, helping. All right. Interesting. Symbols of Revolution. Cards consist of 54 cards. Each features a unique illustration, animal or object that represents some facet of revolution. Categorized by the following animals: hearts, tools, spades. Okay. Cool. Stickers to arms. So, while this isn't necessarily my style deck, I actually think there is some potential to this. I think the one thing that's missing, though, is just showing all of the cards. Especially because you're talking about, each ace, king, queen, and jack features a unique illustration. Where are the unique illustrations? I wonder if these are them here.
But those, there's not 12 there, so maybe, how many are there?
7.
So that doesn't even account for all the court cards,
So yeah, we'll be revealing more symbols below as the campaign goes on. I'll tell you from the jump, this is always going to lead to people waiting to the last minute to decide whether or not they want to back, which means you get less momentum, which means you get less likelihood that the algorithm on Kickstarter is going to promote you to a popular campaign. You want to make sure that when you're putting your campaign up, the only thing left to the reader's imagination is what are the stretch goals after we've accomplished all the stretch goals you already mentioned. You want to make sure that this is a fully thought out campaign. And in my mind, this right now is still at a very much an ideation phase. It sounds like you have potential here for what you're looking to do, but you definitely need to, our deck publisher, the Game Crafter, is based in the US, where we expect majority of backers to come from, direct to backer shipping. So I've never heard of the Game Crafter. I'm curious to see what the quality of their cards would actually be. That's something to discuss there as well, just because with an unknown printer, you want to you're selling the printer as well. It's something to consider. Should this not fund, I would definitely say consider building out the campaign to be a little more meaty, a little more informative. Let's see what we got here.
15 shipped, free shipping.
Yeah, but why? Oh, plus $5 for a sticker. It's a little pricey. 15 ship for the deck isn't bad, but again, I'm not sure the quality just based on the printer. But I would like to see all of what the deck is. I think you'd get more backers should the deck be fully revealed on the campaign. So, good luck, Chloe.
She has 3 created. What else has she done?
A game.
Interesting.
And a game. Yeah. So, good luck, Chloe. And that's it for this week.
That's
Yeah,
it.
Steve, what are you backing this first week of the new year?
Origin for sure. Um, then I'd back the Gen 1. I'd back the Benchmark. And that's about it, man. Dude, this is my first time backing something
4 weeks?
like what, almost a
Yeah,
month?
4 weeks. So yeah, I'll agree with you. I'm about the Origin. I really like the style of it. The story itself may not be, my up my alley, but I love the artwork aspect of it.
Yeah.
I'm on board for Generation 1 as well. Benchmark for sure. And I dig the vampires playing cards, the Western vampires. I just like that style. It reminds me of several other creators as well, but it's very fun.
Yeah. I like I think it's cool. It definitely has, its crowd. I like the more realistic vampire side.
Yeah.
But that one is fun. I think the artwork's great,
Yeah.
and the colors are bomb as well.
And you know what? Honestly, I enjoyed the Ketchup and Fries playing cards as well. I'd probably back those as well, just because they do have that kind of OPC novelty aspect to them. They're interesting. I'd like to see where the franchise goes with it as well. So yeah,
Right on.
cool.
Hummingbird feathers mimics the shimmer of a hummingbird in motion, meticulously created with a specialized printing process using multiple holographic foils. Stunning tuck design and sculpted embossing with master letterpress creation, featuring limited standard and gilded 3-deck sets. Pre-order yours today at marvelousdecks.com.
Well, everyone, thanks so much for tuning into this first episode of Deckin Around Kickstarter Edition for 2021. Hopefully, we're going to have a year full of phenomenal decks. We're really excited to see what all these great creators are going to come out with this year. And remember, guys, Kickstarter is a learning process. Just because you put up a deck the first time and it doesn't fund doesn't mean you should give up on it. Figure out where things did not go as ideal as you had hoped. Adjust, redesign, and relaunch. This is an iterative process,
Yep.
and even some of the greatest creators have gone through 3 or 4 failed campaigns before they got their project to fund. So
Yep.
stay positive with it. 2021 is going to be a great year for playing cards, and we're really excited to see what everyone brings to the table this year.
Yeah, if anybody has any questions or wants us to take a look at their campaign before it goes live, we would love to do that. So send us
Feel free to
a
reach
message
out right
down
there.
below.
Yeah, decking
Yeah.
around. And also comment below, guys. Let us know what you're backing this week, because we want to know. It's been a while since I feel like anyone's really backed much. Let us know what decks you're going to be backing. Drop a comment below. And like Steve said, hit us up on Instagram. Thanks so much for checking.
And Tyler,
Yeah.
have you ring a bell yet?
Well, I didn't get to mention that yet, but sure. Make sure to like the video, everyone, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already.
Peace.